the European side of things, it will be Villa, it will be Bomb. We haven't changed any of that. It's going to be cowana and MNM with a 10-minute break underneath. Let's see if that was enough to refresh the both of them.
Hi, that's it. There's nothing else outside of attack timeout that they can call during the game if things are going away from them. There is just roughly 45 minutes of siege ahead of them to dictate how the February is going to be. Is it going to be swanning about Stockholm and seeing the sights of Sweden and then playing some siege?
And playing siege is
Or
also
is it going to be watching some siege at home? That's it. That's the end. That's the end.
Yeah. And one is a bit colder than the other, we have to mention as well, though,
Yep.
because I think Sweden will be around -10 degrees around that time of year.
Warmer than Canada would have been.
Warmer than
you
Canada would have
assume.
been, so at least we get that going for the Six Invitational. And as the floors does get removed by MNM, that is an operator they do not want to be dealing with anymore. And surprise, surprise, MNM themselves decide to ban Valkyrie. Now, that is a sight to be seen.
You know, it's Villa. It plays a little bit different, and to be fair, they've played very well on it. The Wamaia's gone to, obviously, we've seen Wamaya and Valk banned on the previous map. We've seen them interchangeably banned on the 2 maps before as well. They know each other. The Flores removal, it does limit some of the approach.
Yeah.
If it's something that you suffered against, which they did, both physically on the destruction of Solotov and from the destruction of property, and you don't specifically play it, why not get rid of it? They tried it with the Buck, obviously, as a bit of a funky ban a couple of maps ago, and here they think that that is going to be something that leads to the same dividends of success. cowana lead in, AVG opening up for one last time, one last opening round, one last swing for SI.
Yeah, and it sounds kind of weird. At this point, it's just the best of one on this remaining between the two of them.
Yeah.
And it's on Villa. A best of one to decide which European team will be going to the Six Invitational. Again, we're going to say not Montreal this time. Just like last year, it will be taking place in Europe. This time, however, not in Paris, but in Sweden. We've been there before, of course, with the Sweden Major, with some teams who qualified there for the Six Invitational, such as Rogue, a team that just barely avoided relegations earlier on. And now there's one more team that has the opportunity to qualify for it. Is it going to be MNM, the team that has been freshly promoted less than a month ago for the European League? Or is it going to be cowana Gaming, the team that missed out on some of these majors in the end to still qualify here at the end of things for the Six Invitational? That's on the line. The granddaddy of them all, as Milos would say. I'm going to be continuing to use that phrase. I agree with it. A little prize money, up to $3 million, I think it is.
You trying to remember the stats?
I don't know if it's
You are the
euros or
stats
dollars.
man.
I think it's dollars, considering it's supposed to take place in Canada.
Well, it's always the conversation of we want to send our best as a region. EU always wants to try and strike hard and true and live up to the glory days of when we were the best. We're not allowed to fool ourselves there anymore. Milos is crying. But I guess there's no truer taste than having a full, fat best of 5 played out to its entirety. And, you know, both these teams have fought tooth and nail. Obviously, cowana have only played this. MNM had the lead in on a full, fat best of 3-2 against another tier 1 team, Team Secret. It hasn't been an easy road, and it starts with a little bit of destruction here. Usus trying to get in underneath, suffers from some verticality there, sprayed back, but still alive. Those grenades to play the reverse vertical, very important.
So those grenades available to him, though, as literally his entire team is currently drowned, and they're also getting off of it at the same time. He's creating a different angle inside of the actual place he wants to be to get those grenades in the right position. And Zana is still active around the main stairs. The first smoke canister gets used. Or was it the second? It's a second already, actually, stopping anybody from moving in further on the main stairs. However, nobody really looking to do that as of yet. Nello is holding a longer angle if he decides to slow or descend a little bit further than that, but besides that, cowana really sitting tight here. This one already used very quick, actually.
Ooh, Sloth almost got by the reverse vertical there. As I said, it's very important to play. They're just going to see if they can spray and get the last of a wounded player that crawls back into the gun vault to lick there. Moon's Tyrant in the meantime puts more into a Narkic, puts the pressure and meets some fire. Stuck between originally a smoky and a hot place, but look at Solotov. He's knocking on the door. There's an Aruni gate that he could try and burn through with a frag grenade, and Gorgona taking users means he kind of has to do something sooner rather than later. The retake underneath, there's one in library, I think, as well. No. Yes, Benja. He twinned himself for the pushback there, and that puts Nello in a really tricky situation. Tyrant is offering everything he can to do some support. You've got to move forward and keep yourself looking back. One more grenade over the top. Does not quite get the full lock off, but it does down Sloth. And, well, if they can try and put some pinch on this, there might be a bit of a lockout.
You know, one of the rotations is still coming through. One is still below. One is injured, but of course not having that piece of information. It's going to be Gorgona on top of the landing. That is in a crucial position. A drone will be used, but will it be in time? 20 seconds as they are slowly starting to run out as Benja gets taken care of, and there's a member of the attack pushing in from the back. Neo in a key position right here is going to be able to get a crucial kill as the plant is going down. Is the last man remaining off the cover here. He needs to make sure, as he knows that the rotation on the right is being used. He waits the shots, but eventually will still get the headshot. It's MNM to win the very first round with quite a bit of quick fashion here. Use that explosive aggression onto the main staircase, able to pick up their very first kill. Anna, of course, with that smoke, using those canisters early on, tried to fall back, but unfortunately lost his life.
There was a little bit of panic, a little bit of flinging that crosshair around when they came through, catching Gorgona on the backside. It was a rotation to meet a rotation to meet a rotation. Everybody was responding to each other. It's exactly what you sort of need to do at this point when you're at the end of a very long road. As I said, if you've ever watched a long marathon race, it's whoever has that little bit of a sprint to be able to take that finish line that's going to be the one that puts us over. And those quick thinking moments, those bites, that prep, all that work, it's building to this. And 2 weeks and then SI, so.
You're talking about how sometimes you're in a dream and you're in a race that keeps on getting longer and longer as you keep on running. That is no longer the case. This is the final countdown in terms of rounds. MNM 6 to go. Cowana still left on 7. That means MNM has that little bit of advantage this time around. They might have been lacking on the previous map we have played, where Cowana was the one that led in quite well. Of course, MNM still need to improve on this. Let's say if they manage to pick up 1 or 2 more rounds straight after this one, then they find themselves in a very good position where they could build on and potentially work towards that round map and, of course, a match win and book those tickets to Sweden. Now, Cowana, of course, want to prevent that from happening, and as the first kill goes their way, it's Benja that opens up onto Solotov, with Grizzly going quite aggressive, could be walking right into one of these MNM members if they're ready to strike back, but it doesn't seem to be the case. Most of them still outside, and some of the angles are still being watched.
It's a bit of an aggressive hold, you could go and say. It seemed like at one point there was 3 players actively underneath, putting down utility with the Banshees. Benja has that stretch, and they're the ones that keep sort of drifting to change the figure of who is upstairs and who is down, and they're more than ready and able to go for a bit of a swing here, and it's up to MNM to see what they decide is worth on this approach. Do they want to see if they can take out those players inside the library or try and force them away by putting pressure elsewhere? They haven't really gone for the width of the rest of the bedroom take. They're still sort of playing some importance onto the role of Gorgona and Grizzly underneath, and that just buys time on the site hold itself for them to start the structured hold.
More info is being given away as Grizzly is the first to fall. One of those roamers has been taken out. We now have a, well, distraction of 2 players on the actual side, 2 that are somewhat off the side. Benja is one that basically dances in between right now as he's, well, up in that top bedroom floor. Jumping actually comes through, takes a lot of damage and instantly hops back out again, not willing to take that gunfight as he knows he's in a disadvantage from that current position. But Nello in a position as well where he has the opportunity to go for a bit of a flank as the first smoke canisters are starting to pop. A jump in will come through as the first kill as a pistol is being whipped out here at this given time. The prone and the reload coming in at the same time. The kill comes through. Gorgona picks it up and turns it into a 4-2 in favor of Cowana.
A huge amount of attention played to a player that they still haven't really got out, and the only thing he's doing right now in that art studio is painting the word pain on a canvas over and over the bodies of MNM players. They're still chasing, they're still tailing. There's finally an end to it, but 40 seconds A 3 versus 2. Tyrant has a grenade. They can try and cause some destruction underneath, but 2 stacked shields. So much other utility left to get through. No staircase is an easy route up. Look at that. We're getting Cowana players pulling themselves back towards bedroom, back towards the statuary side to make sure they have the stretch. That's 10 seconds. You've got a sit and wait button at the top of its Benja on the right-hand side and a body on the left as well. They've split themselves up. A slight different push, but they have to get aggro. There's the fight. Can't get the connection. Hits the shield and just gets themselves dropped and downed. Cowana find the end to a round that they opened with so much brutality underneath.
Tyrant's still going to be able to pick up one of the kills. I believe it was Benja that eventually was taken care of and neutralized. And Cowana, after their very heavy bottom floor roam, are able to equalize the score straight away. Villa, a map that was previously also known to be one of the most defense-sided ones, is now slowly started to shift towards the attack itself as well. A 3-3 split is what we seem to expect, and MNM, of course, is the one that's under the big pressure here. They are playing their 8th map in a row right now with a total of 30 minutes worth of break. It's not much, let's just put it up like that, but it is going to be, or has to be, enough for them to ensure that they are going to be able to lock off their spot in SI. They got so far, they got so close, but so far Cowana really putting up that reverse sweep storyline here.
Okay, there's a little bit of tit for tat. There's the dance that these two teams have done not only on this series, but also yesterday. It's how much of a distance they can find themselves putting back in. Heading over to Trophy Statuary and heading all over the other side of the map as well. Cowana love to stretch out. They love to make sure they have a presence elsewhere because MNM sometimes have a bad habit of getting a bit blinkered by it. And earlier on in the day when Cowana weren't entirely warmed up to it, it was quite a clean close down, but here Cowana have definitely found a little bit more pace. Just think of how much time was wasted alongside a pair of bodies, and then the 2 that were needed to then go down there and clean up as well. It's just a little bit of a disaster, and they need to make sure that doesn't become a repetition, because that can be a very big one on a map as hefty as Villa.
And this is where I'm sometimes wondering, isn't it better to just attack the side when you know there's only 1 or 2 players out there? Use the speed, use the momentum, try and go for a rush. It's something that sometimes seems to be lacking from one of these teams, or just teams in general. Of course, I don't know what's happening in the calls, I don't know what they practice, I don't know what their success rate would be for it, but if you manage to take the side by storm as Grizzly picks up the first kill to Tyrant, that's a very impactful frag, as he was just as well in that living room. Grizzly taking about half HP worth of damage.
A revenge frag for what happened in the round before, but you take out Tyrant. He has been such a key player for MNM over this, and him going first sort of spells a bit of disaster for the rest of the round. It's down to users especially to try and claw some of these bodies back in, who very frequently stepped in as that second name that gets called out alongside it, but Solotov gets that first pick. Sloth on the far side, the back corner gives them a bit of a lead in for the pressure they can put here, but still with Cowana players underneath, they could rotate up Astro stairs, they could rotate their way back round over red as well. They have some freedom that otherwise isn't being punished yet.
I was going to say, you have to be careful for potential grenades or C4s that come in from below, but Anna is the only one that currently carries one. He's about to be taken out there. It's the injured that comes through, but Benja instantly would have trade himself as well. It's an effective 3-on-3 situation now, and Anna basically out of reach to be picked up. Flashbangs are being tossed in. They want to take control of the astronomy staircase and the astronomy room right here. And as the adrenaline surge wears off, they know one just ran through. Here comes the corner around the corner. They know one more is out there. It's actually 2, and the pre-fire will hit. As Anarchic is going to be able to finally be destroyed. It's a double kill from Nello. Turns it into a 1v1. It's just Neo and Gorgona left now.
Neo on the other side has so much time, but the diffuser is in a very isolated position. There is some control with those air jabs, could limit some of the space here, but Gorgona is just sort of sitting, waiting for that precious bout of intel, can hit shots when he needs to, and was that tour de force form of the previous round for them. A bout of silence. He preps himself on the door with 30 seconds generally passed at this point, and only that remaining. It's on to Neo to try and put some pressure. Peppers the first few bullets, gives the game away. He has an idea, and Gorgona with the hot ping, well, that's a sort of bait of mental game. We know where you are. We know where you are. And it echoes out around him as he's just trying to find some safety. The air jab goes down. The plant is being attempted. Is Gorgona going for the opposite side? Goes for the swing, and the spray pops up. It's still plants. It's still peppering. It's hiding behind the statue. There it is. Over the top. Gorgona couldn't quite get the connection. He's going to go from underneath, and he he finds it there instead!
Oh, Gorgona jumping down right there. At least he got the red ping to help him out, because otherwise that could have been an MNM round with the air jump still being up in some of these locations. And Cowana, they managed to smuggle out that round in the end there. Oh man, that shouldn't have gone their way after Gorgona jumped down, but it was the red ping, it was the camera that was still up there that gave Neo's position away. There was nothing much he could do there. And 2-1, Cowana take the lead after an early round from MNM being successful. This one could have gone their way as well. MNM could have picked this one up, but unfortunately not able to. And as the Hibana changes into a Maverick, the clash is yet again to be introduced by the team of Cowana to get a bit of Capcan on the board. So quite a bit of stuff to worry about here on this kitchen take.
Clash. She's been a sort of on-again, off-again force we see throughout the day here. Hasn't really been the big lock-off, but you got to see how MNM are struggling right now. Is this sort of being kept at bay of the site itself? The consistent pings, the placement of the intel. Obviously, it was built around the modicum and the net of bulletproofs that you assume were still sitting and standing over the two sides. The red pings were a huge swing there, not only to reveal where the plant was, but we saw every single movement made by Neo in that dying sort of 20-30 seconds, be at the cost of a constant surveillance. And even if you're Nomad, even if you have those air jabs, when you're being watched, you know what the players and opponents are capable of, and you know that that floor, yeah, it's soft, as proven there, unfortunately.
If only that earlier swing in the middle of the Astro was a little bit wider to pick up the revive that was coming through. That would have been absolutely crucial. Wouldn't have been the, well, trade kills that came through from the side. It was Sloth still with that AG, 20 HP. To pick up that one was crucial in the end there. Now, MNM training by that singular round. Already know that it's starting to slowly slip away after they lost those last two maps in a row, and they know that it's their 8th one they're playing in a row. It is a heavy day of siege from them. But if they do manage to qualify for the Six Invitational, it would have been so worth it to play those 8 maps here today, knowing you would be going to the World Championship, being the new team of EU. What they could have done there. So last year we had Makers, of course, with a miracle run, able to make it through and beat some of the biggest teams in the world. You can only wonder what MNM or Cowana are going to be doing as they come through the open qualifier themselves. Now, there is going to be a lot of challenging going on from Cowana towards the outsides area, but in the meantime, Solotov again finds himself very close into the site, and he's going to be able to at least put some damage down, which will be followed up by Nello, of course, opening up near the pantry area as well.
Didn't quite get the clean burn on the wall, but as an Arctic is broken above, the space is slowly sifting away. You've got to sort of expect a bit of movement to come out from the rest of the team here for Cowana. They obviously still have a stretch, and they have a rotation up Astro, which I believe they've got themselves stacked up and ready to utilize here. They're going to see if they can get a retake behind the shield of Grizzly that's paying and protecting Heed towards the hatch just behind. It's that sort of focal point. Keep knocking them back, and you might not be able to get the drop on them, but you could at least cause a lot of devastation. And Solotov tries to make that inroad, slightly shaken by the explosion above, but look at this Cowana. They're not overstretching. They know the ground that they have, and they know what they want to make work.
This grenade could be crucial here if it lands right into China. Sloth will be taken out. There you have it. That is it. And that means that there's suddenly not really anything anymore to stop this plant from happening. Solotov takes more ground. He's in the middle of a smoke grenade here, but he takes a small amount of damage, takes even more. However, Tyrant takes an important kill into Benja. They could go for a potential plant, but it's Neo that gets executed by Anarchic as Solotov picks up a very important kill.
Gorgona went through a rotation. Grizzly's fighting a one-on-one above, and that is, to be honest, kind of detrimental to a clash. So Gorgona is going to do all that they can inside the site itself. Finds one, goes for the second lockdown as Nello is going to stick the diffuser in the meantime, covered a bit by the audio that's coming through. There goes the clash. There goes the spray. There goes that round, and MNM keep it tied up 2-2.
Grenades being tossed in on either side there really gave him no opportunity to move either way, and the panic forced him to move through the rotation right into the gunfire of course, Tyrant, who was still waiting there. And MNM, as you said, they just equalized the scoreline yet once more. They're trying to give it their all. They're making sure that they make it as a very close map number 5, which is all deciding for the Six Invitational. These two teams, they know each other so well, and a year and 8 days ago, Cowana denied MNM their EUL spot. And MNM, well, for a while they looked like they were going to do the same, but for the SI instead, it is now cowana that starts to fight back. And they got those 2 rounds, and you know, at that point you would say the momentum is in their way, but MNM are refusing to die so far.
Back to a little point of contention. It's been a bit back and forth between these 2 teams, and whoever picks it this time might have that post pressure to be able to put through. If you haven't seen Villa in a while, we've sort of cited these statistics as the day's gone on. It's actually currently, over the EUL third split, sitting at only a 51% success rate for defense. It has fallen dramatically compared to where it used to be in the new meta, so an even half isn't the most unusual thing in the current weight of things. It's generally just the bout of pressure that they might be able to put onto cowana, who have been better on their attacks recently.
They definitely have been improving indeed, but MNM, they need to make sure that they pick up at least 1 and hopefully for them 2 more if they want to be making it to the 6 Invitational here. If right now they don't win any of these rounds anymore on their attack and cowana manage to lock it up with a 4-2, then, well, I'm not going to say it's over, but it's going to be an uphill battle to climb for them. And that is going to be the very big question that we need to see answered. MNM have proven to be effective around these main stairs before. Are they going to go for a similar kind of push? There is already one of the shields, I believe, that got put on fire from Benja. Has created some rotation, but as Gorgoni gets picked up now as the very first kill, it's Yuzu's that gets that entry, and a very important one at that, as Tyrant actually spots out a player, and they now know there's still people around in the actual elevator site. Did he use his shield to create a rotation there? I don't know, but
you're trying to work it out. You're trying to run the numbers. The only number I can see flashing up right now is they don't have Gorgona, and he has been a big factor, and he was the deciding factor for the fact that they held onto this site last time. So it's now down to Grizzly, who's been able to have a little bit of a back and forth with that entry statistic in terms of trying to put the fight down onto the opponent, but does not feel truly confident. Fair enough. As he pulls himself back, spots a drone on the way out the door, and that allows MNM to get a little bit of a headway into the building itself. They're down on the ground floor, and they've not been attacked by cowana this time.
No, but there is definitely still some roamers around. Grizzly at the bottom of the red stairs is looking to wait for the perfect moment to strike, but gives away his position here and misses the opportunity of actually picking up the kill. The impact grenade will deal a small amount of damage to users as he is throwing up these grenades to hopefully pick up Sloth, but there's nothing more than about half of his HP with 2 of these grenades. And MNM, well, they need to continue to fight. They still need to find the entry onto the actual site. And as Sloth now dies, that is exactly the entry they need. Now all that stands between them and success for this one is the main stairs, as Anna and Benja are covered up here.
Anna's locked in on this staircase. He's popped a canister to make sure they don't flood their way up, but look at the pressure that's coming onto Study. It's down to Benja to keep that lock in extension, allow him to rotate back towards the site itself. Nello started that bout of pressure, and the grenade is going to make sure that as that shield pops open, well, it's Benja that pops off. Takes care of Solotov on the swing round, and just over 30 seconds, they're going to have to try and direct themselves towards that Study control and, most importantly, the top of red stairs, which Grizzly, well aware of. Pulls himself back towards Statue, gets the crossfire on the angle, and hopes he goes unchecked. This could be disastrous. It is not, though. Tyrant continues a tirade. They're going to pop round the back of the other side. Benja starting to strike. They know exactly where he is, and Arkic is still a bit of a loose element, and it's another one for Benja. Finds himself a third for the round. They've stacked up on the door, but the rotation has gone round to the other side, into the corridor. Over the top, you see the first body drop. The other one's pulled off to Study. You know they're rotating round to the backside. It's Benja going for the long route round, and there's a Usus. And there is somehow a cowana round built on the back of Benja.
Yeah, Benja able to pick up some great and important kills there, though, as they were pushing the main stairs. He picks up one. He then neutralizes the pressure from the Study as well that was coming in from the MNM side of things, and picks apart Tyrant as well, as he hopes to take and retake that control. It was the right call to completely rotate through, but unfortunately the player in the vault was right there at the right time, watching the right angle. And cowana now 3-2. Taking that lead, knowing that if they pick up yet another round, they have MNM. Well, not quite check yet, but they are definitely heading the right way. And MNM, They're not changing too much about their lineup. I don't think they have to. I mean, they did get quite close yet once again. It's just that Benja was the difficult one to grasp, and that is due to the fact that a grenade was misthrown. It bounced back, and after the second one came through, the ADS already recharged, which unfortunately led to the shield still being up, allowing him to continue to play his power position. And that is something that, if gone right, he should have been forced back and potentially picked up on an earlier moment. Because besides that, a lot did go well for them. They did have the entries, they did have the openings, and unfortunately, not the closing that they needed.
Prepping angles and prepping the possibility of a 4-2 split here. Now, obviously, this came down to the 1 versus 1 dance around with hot intel, and the slow was a little bit on the astronomy side. They didn't quite have themselves stretched up for the multiplicity of taking potentially the other side. MNM sort of trusts the process of, well, we'll take the territory we need and we'll make it work. And to be fair, it does work sometimes. But here, Cowana, that loose play, that sort of grip that they seem to have over all of the map, or at least as much as they can try and keep in their hands, is sort of turning into a bit of an effect. It's turning into a bit of a problem, and Grizzly might be the lead in here. Pinged either side. The camera has the bait on the pulse, and Solotov, well, he's joining himself in, so he doesn't want to entirely risk a fight.
He also knows he has been spotted out as the cardiac sensor was active on the pulse, so they know exactly that he's close. So removes himself a little bit, creates some distance as he falls back, and the rest of the team is trying to take control of that bottom floor first. The one thing they don't know, however, is that there's a roamer in that basement. I'm not quite sure who it is, and it seems to be Grizzly actually on that pulse, on that cardiac sensor, able to roam, be a threat, and as well at the same time gather and give information to the rest of Cowana. Styron picks up the first kill yet again. Gorgona falls, and with that, MNM again have a good opportunity to lock this to a 3-3.
Now, Wine. If you're not familiar with it on Villa, that makes sense. It's rarely seen as a big focal point of play, but it is there, it exists, and Grizzly's going to make sure that he can sort of keep as much of that under his possibility as he can. The pulse, he's going to be feeding all of this movement of the players above. He has the stairs to rotate up and cause some problems later on. And again, as I said before, that is a play that Cowana love. They love that strike force background. They love to keep MNM guessing. And
what a nade!
There's a play that MNM love to do too. A grenade from underneath. It's all time, it's all calls, but you're waiting for the call for Grizzly to come into action and the bear to strike, drunk on the wine he's surrounded himself with.
It's a bit difficult now because it's an effective 2-on-5 situation with Grizzly just feeding away the information. You know, that makes it a little bit easier to go for some of these frags, but you kind of want him to be active here as a new grenade gets tossed. It's a barricade that holds Grizzly off right here. The rest of the side is being approached right now, and as soon as he rips apart that barricade, his position, his ID will be given away here. Another drop comes through, I believe it is, and Anarchic will be walking right into the Arab jab right there. So they know exactly that one player's at least downstairs. There could be a second, but as there is going to be a double swing about to happen, is Styron ready and waiting, hoping to pick up a kill right here, and with that, get yet another one going MNM's way.
Tyron gets the triple, 15 seconds, one more. It is just Grizzly down below.
C4.
I said the pulse could be a huge impact, and you have pointed it out. A C4 and a pulse is the perfect prime position to cause some trouble. There's a ping, but there's also a much more intent focus towards that play this time. Fool me once, shame on me. Fool me twice, well, I'm going to have a flawless round, get all my friends, and make sure you can't get me through the softs again.
The 3-3 is at least locked out here for MNM. They've salvaged that half and now are going over to the defense themselves. We're headed into the last strides in the last rounds right now here for this matchup. It is going to be the second half to come in. MNM on the defense, Cowana on the attack, and is Covana's attack improved that much that they're going to be able to end it here right now? Or is MNM going to be able to keep fighting back as they will go to Aviator Games first? Now, we did see the strengths and weaknesses of the Cowana on their defense themselves, and MNM whilst approaching it. But is MNM going to go for a different approach themselves? Are they going to roam as heavily as Cowana did, or go for more of a turtle setup?
Even to the final half, the final, maybe 6 rounds.
Yeah.
Maybe a little bit more. After the showdown that we've had between these two teams today and tomorrow, you cannot say that we haven't had the full stretch, especially from MNM, who, if you are somehow here and unaware, played a full best of 3 before this game.
Yes.
About half an hour between the two games for them. And then they're here all the way till the end. For them, or for both teams, 4 rounds separate them from being able to secure that final EU spot at SI. 6 rounds separate us from maybe OT, but there can be no more than 9 more rounds to be played.
That's it. It's somewhere between 4 and 9 rounds that we will still have left in this last map of Siege. And MNM is wanting to strike back for what happened to them a year ago. Of course, not completely the same lineup, but still at least the same feeling. cowana, their UK brethren, they play against them in UK. They will play against them in the European League. They know them through and through. And now there is an SI spot on the line, the last SI spots for Europe on the line. And as they did manage to get a great round in round number 6, they now need to start building on top of that. Whilst cowana wants to do the exact same thing. We're all leveled out here. And as the first grenade is going to be sent to the way of the side of MNM, it's going to be a kill. It's Solotot taken out, the grenade right underneath his feet. And that is the advantage that cowana is looking for in their first attack.
It starts the same way that has played MNM over these past few maps, is that drone game. So good, so consistently from cowana, and unfortunately unpunished for MNM. The amount of times they've been caught, is it going to be 2 from the same drone that's residually sat in the corner? No. But still, there is this pressure that Usus is going to make sure he hits back. Gorgona gone, there's Grizzly 2 over the shoulder of Study. He is making sure he has the read and keeps the pace into their favor. Tyrant, the slow creep round underneath. There's a reveal. He was spotted, but he does not care. As he continues the tirade, he's made sure has been the meter and the mark that this entire playoffs game has been measured by. Neo is buying as much time as possible on the main stairs with a little bit of a restructure here, with more focus paid over to the side that they have just lost the approach on. The pair of them need to offer the hammer to hit against the anvil of Grizzly that's just locked in with that F2, and it's going to be a wide take, but they still have time. Might as well make the most of it.
Yeah, they of course now 2 were on the main stairs, or at least around it, and Tyrant was the one on those red stairs, low on HP after losing that gunfight. It's the easier way in. It's the way they will go for right now, and as they give away their position, as they're opening up these barricades, then now MNM should know as well. But you cannot shift everybody around, because Grizzly is still on that Study balcony. He's still waiting to strike at the very same time as Benja is about to be hitting the side himself as well. Nello standing up on top of the bars, looking to find the very first with the SMG, using that smoke canister to hope and slow down the push as it comes down. It's the first injure, it's the second one to move through under the effect of the adrenaline surge, and Arctic is all the way down to about 5 HP. Neo looking to take steady control right here as Grizzly needs to cover with the plants going down. He is going to be swinging in at this exact moment in time. It's 1 kill to come through. Anna off the plant. It is going to be MNM that should be winning this round, but there's 8 seconds left and it could still happen. The first kill goes his way. He rotates around, going to the bar. There is that opening towards the Study. He tries to utilize, but he fails to do. MNM win the round and take the lead here after a very early loss.
My heart is racing, and I can only imagine theirs is worse for 3. And we are still back and forth, still neck and neck. It came down to a single player tucking in behind a hard wall. It was one of those skin of your teeth rounds, and sometimes those have become a little bit of a habitual thing that cowana have learnt to punish. So we'll have to see if they're able to break that hold here on Trophy Statuary. A little bit of a slight change of pace. We've got the Kaid, we've got the ability to slow down against those big walls. They're expecting the fight to come across here, and I'm curious to see if we get the same thing from cowana. What we had from MNM on these approaches was sort of just, well, we don't need AVG.
Yeah.
We don't need to take the other side of here, and to be honest, that attack that we just had on AVG was the first time we saw a bedroom presence come across. It is a slight different width that we get from cowana that we haven't really had from MNM, and I'm curious to see which one starts to become more of a focus point.
I did read some stuff on the socials earlier today, and
Did you?
I just want to point it out there that
Throw it up.
our EUL analyst Fresh
Yeah?
predicts cowana to win it in map 5.
Oh, well, that means they lose.
I was going to say the exact same thing. He's never predicted cowana correctly.
Never.
If he
predicts cowana to win, the team has actually banned him from predicting them to win.
Yeah, but he just did on Twitter. So that means that he might have just given MNM the spot to SI. I'm not quite sure, but if it does happen, we're definitely going to blame it on Fresh.
I mean, as much as I would love to blame stuff on Fresh, I do not think any single player in this server is up for any blame, regardless of the result.
No,
all of
not
them
at all.
have played so intently over a very long weekend of Siege. You know, and we have had that exemplified in this final best of 5. 4-3. MNM have themselves a bit of a clarity here underneath. Sloth once again being hot droned in from 2 different directions as they make sure the room covered in white is covered in, well, nothing else, as they try to go for the China swing here. Steadily droning up, we're gonna have likely more grenades swing round, but the Banshee means that any swing here on the bottom of the stairs is likely to be a little bit disastrous.
I think that missed.
I don't think that got it, no.
Definitely didn't. That's unfortunate. It's a Gone 6 wasted. He's going to have to use some bullets instead and give away his position. Of course, Neo, however, knows that one is out here. And as they just quickly spot it, he also realizes, okay, the Banshee is still up. So they will try and get rid of it instead, I guess. Also, Benja still carries one. He could use his Gone 6 potentially. But do they really want to use 2 Gone 6s for that one Banshee? That's the big question.
Depends how they want to try and approach this. Seems like yes is the answer.
Did they get it this time around?
They did get it the second time. They did get it the second time. And with the pressure of Grizzly on the window, it means Neo's in a bit of a tough spot. There's going to be a smoke canister. Gets thrown out long. There's going to be a grenade. Gets thrown out longer. Is able to take care of Solotov there. As I said, it's always going to be one of those maps where you're never really safe from grenades. Hey, look, 2 for 2, why not? Says Sloth, who's been able to make the own connection himself. 2 for 2 over the past 2 maps. Tyrant, he's going for a approach round underneath, going to the first fight, can't quite get the connection, and Benja is able to bleed them back up to the top here. Neo, he's a bit lost and food for thought. They know he's here, and now he's the only one really left at this point, and he doesn't really see the end of it. At least he was smoked out 4-4.
Flawless round as well at that. That is going to be helping Cowana a little bit to get back into it here. We just continue this sprint to the end, and I wouldn't be surprised if it comes down to a maximum OT as we keep on trading these rounds. And trophy stat tree coming up yet once again. MNM, they know that they didn't really play this well. 2 grenades from below is eventually what took them out, so let's see if there's a way around it. Let's see if they may be able to get a roamer or 2 in a position where they could slow them down. Let's say the basement, for example. You can sneak up on Pantry afterwards if the first grenade comes in, and then try and pick up the kill as a result. Or maybe just try and be a little bit more mobile. Just try and stop the drones as they start coming in, because they are being guided in. It's not just like the grenades are being tossed in blindly. Half of the time there is going to be that one drone that does give them the position where they are.
The stretch goes on the same side itself. They're going to see if they can find some success on trophy statuary, which, to be fair, fair enough. It was a bit of a blind side, but if you think that you have the option to change it up, as you said, whether explore the map a little bit more, try and put some pressure elsewhere, it's been a bit of a mixed bag.
They're going to roam downstairs, I think. I mean, I've just saw 2 of the mute jumpers being placed. One right next to the mud entrance and one next to the laundry room entrance. It's to stop these drones from coming in, right? And with that, they want to ensure themselves a safer way to actually stay up here. Make sure there is no drones that come into that first floor that allow them to be picked up. And as Tyrant gets the very first kill with Benja taken out, it's 2 of those grenades and the healing capabilities on the side of Cowana that have now left the board. So, Neo playing out in the kitchen, he's not going to be facing too many drones, I think.
That's it. They realized they couldn't just be sitting ducks. You have to lean in. You have to try and put some pressure back onto them. And sure, you get on a player, that's the best result. But you've also been able to take care of a handful of drones, a utility that time and time again, Cowana have demonstrated that they're very good at. And sometimes MNM less so at stopping the onslaught of little roly boys, getting all that precious intel. They've been able to stack themselves up on the opposite side. Trophy is currently listed with MNM players, and they're going to hand over a bit of territory, but a minute wasted and a player. That's a much better result than last time.
It definitely is, but instead of trying to continue their own downstairs, they decided to go all the way back up to that top floor, turtle down, let them have it. You know, they might be able to get a kill from a grenade yet once again. There is still 4 of them available to them, I believe. As the first one is being pulled, that one is not going to be landing anywhere close, but at least lets them know that the start and the barrage of the fire from below has started. The smart smoke canister here actually trying to force Grizzly off, just making sure that he's not actively able to play on that window there. And it allows the player to also rotate out that was stuck on the staircase, so stopping the drone and don't just have a free way in.
Well, there's more of an explosive and an explosion that doesn't quite net the same result as before, but they haven't really finished throwing them up, it seems. A minute on, though. They've got to start trying to make some progress and have a point of ingress here. User shuts the door. Gorgona's blocked out by the English shotgun, but a bit of revenge spray comes from Sloth over the top of Astro. They're up here, inside the staircase, trying to get that long, deep fight. They see a sliver of Neo on the far side. He's not going to overextend, but the player covered off on the smoke on one side leans in for the fight on the other. They've been able to slip themselves into a slightly different altercation, but with Sloth having to do this heavy driving work, we talked about this importance before, and he has done big bits here just to keep MNM fighting across at User. Though has this response he so perpetually had over the side of the bedroom, but nobody is caught sleeping here as everybody's finding a scrappy fight. Lay down. Keep yourself safe, but expect anybody to swing either side. And Arkic doesn't quite get the first connection, doesn't quite get the second, and now he's all that's left to the bearing. Shoots high, shoots low, gets it finally for the 1 versus 1. We've been here before. Last time it went into the fact that they were able to get the call on the plant, but they don't have the same pings. There's an impact, it's a bit loose, it's a bit wide, but it pulls him off the diffuser. He's going for the fight. He was not in the right place, went for a sprint, but wasn't quite fast enough.
Oh, he could have actually stuck the plant there in that position as well. Yes, there was one on the other side, but the impacts weren't really coming close. And now a tactical timeout is being called by the side of cowana, something we haven't really seen in these last 2 maps. MNM is now in a position where they have the opportunity to lock themselves in. And if I'm correct, not 100% sure, but cowana calling a timeout, being able to talk with the coach also enables the coach of MNM to talk at the very same time. That goes both ways, at least I assume, and I might be wrong on that and could be improved upon by Slumper, or corrected rather, but that's what I think. And maybe MNM's camp, you know, maybe they can use with a bit of a talk as well, because we have been trading on and off every single time. And as they're heading back towards Aviator Games, they want to make sure that this is the moment where they put themselves up towards 6-4 and have the opportunity to fight for a match point, because they haven't been in that position yet at all.
If we can cite one sort of detail that surmises how this game has gone, it's the fact that this is the TAC timeout and it was only 1 round ago that the team calling it was able to get a flawless. That is how back and forth this game has been.
Yeah.
It is so much an answer to each other's questions that are continually being posed. It's responses to the play. It's, well, we were so caught sitting here, so we're going to catch them on the approach. Last time we were in AVG, what did we sort of have? Well, it was a struggle to really get pressure onto the site early on. So the swap is a lion. If they can try and get the pincer on the plays that Tyrant's been doing, where he goes for those loose pushes underneath, if they can try and buy themselves a little bit more attitude onto the site itself with the fantastic grenade play that they've been doing, suddenly MNM's a little bit back in that sitting ducks territory once again.
That's it, right? They want to slow down the pushes, the flanks, and everything that MNM is currently bringing, and the line might be the perfect answer to it. Wait for their movements, wait for them to push in, use that E1D at that exact same time, and you might find yourself in a way, in a place where you could be picking up that kill before it does too much damage. cowana, 3 rounds away from SI. MNM, only 2. That is what we're currently standing right now. MNM has the better cards for now, but they've also had 7 full maps before this. This is their 8th, so they're definitely warmed up to some extent. At least you'd hope. But it's more a fact of, will fatigue strike at the very dying moments of this match? Will they make crucial mistakes as they continue going on? But the same, of course, goes for cowana. This is also their 5th map right now. Of course, they've less maps underneath their legs here, but they're also prone to make some mistakes here and there at some point in the match. And as soon as they start happening now, that could be the dying and the ending moment, as MNM would be more than happy to punish those.
Sloth once again, quickly into Art Studio to try and set up some drones and put some pressure onto the players inside the site itself. He's cooked grenades very successfully. Over the couple of rounds, he's been able to loose them at the floor, and well, you can see MNM's decided to take a slightly different tact and play it at arm's reach. They obviously have the angle and the extension. They can play from the bottom of the red stairs if they want to try and put some direct pressure back to Sloth, but most importantly, the players were not sitting inside the site. They made sure they weren't going to be the easy catch. Solotov is the closest, but look at where he is compared to where he was before, right? On the chassis, no. Right towards the gun vault, and that forces Sloth to have to go elsewhere. He's not going to get that easy pickup that he was able to make before, and it forces new rotations, new ideas from cowana.
Have to indeed adapt just a slight bit, and the player that's repelled up here, Benja, on that 90 window, decides that he needs to head off just a little bit here. Users is still active out there. There is still going to be that reinforced wall that is electrified on the gun vault that is unable to be opened at all, and it seems like the entirety of cowana is currently attacking from the bedroom side of things, except for Anna, who's of course still onto that balcony, not carrying the diffuser. Gorgona is tasked with that duty to get it down on the ground. As there is barricades all around, it's going to be slowing them down just ever so slightly, but also give away the position as the first E1D starts popping. And with that, they want to go quick. With that, they want to take ground, but is it too late?
There is a big rotation coming through on the Solarium side as well. The Astronomy, even as C4 start to pop blinds on 90, and Usus has been forced back into the site itself. He knows he cannot withstand the onslaught that might come through. Couple of pings inside the site. We know you are, but that's the most important one. Tyrant's caught out on the far side. I said he was a big flank, and as the pressure starts to come through, he's going to buy some precious time. 30 seconds. Solotov's battering down on the site itself, and he maybe wanted to be revealed. He maybe said, come find me. Well, they found you. And now there's 25 seconds as Users keeps it down. Gorgona, he snuck in for the plant, but look at Study. They're going for a wide rotate, but they can't quite get the connection. It forces him off the diffuser. 18 seconds. He's stuck down the C4. Does not quite catch it. Buried back down. He's going to see if he can stick F, but it's a triple for Users. A swing on the coast. And MNM are 1 round away.
I was going to say, time right there on the E1D is starting to move and the pings come out, and everybody suddenly, you saw them, all 5, looking at the back of them, and they're like, all right, we are being pushed from the back, we need to deal with this. 30 seconds got wasted because of that one movement there. He wasn't able to pick up a kill, no. Not at all. But the time that was wasted and the gun that was being occupied as a result, that one was more important. And MNM right now are a round away from making it to the Six Invitational in Sweden this year in February. Just a couple of weeks from now, actually. Starting on the 6th, of course. And right now, it is MNM's chance to end it. Dining Kitchen will be chosen. Dining Kitchen is what they want to be their final battleground. If it will be is yet to be seen. It is definitely a big hit to the side of cowana after they just lost that round. And then now, for the first time today, match point against. 2 of them, to be exact. 2 rounds where they cannot afford a single mistake and where they have to outplay MNM. Tyrant on that roam is absolutely brilliant, taking away the attention on that flank, and at that point it's an E1D and there's only 2 things you can do. You can either stand still or start pushing, and he decided to start pushing to get the attention. If that was the intention, that is brilliant. It worked out quite well either way. Might not have gotten a kill, but the round is still won, and now a 4-6 position. Where is the entry frag going to go? Which way does the coin flip? As MNM needs to find one more. cowana want to fight it back. They are so close to make yet another reverse sweep happen in the history books of Siege. But as the openings are starting to occur, as the top floor is starting to be taken here by cowana, there is still some presence there they need to deal with. But the vertical control is the key, is the win condition for this side. They need to flush out those MNM players who are actually heavily up on that top floor as well. Solotov and Tyrant in a position where they want to go and retake the statuary and games room.
The approach comes over the top here, and cowana know that out of everything, these 2 rounds are the most important they've played pretty much all day. They are so close to pushing it to OT and keeping that dream alive against the technical open qualifier team, but it's a team that's fought so many bitter battles recently to get to Tier 1. MNM here to make the grandest statement of all. We're ready for the top. Prepare for us. This is going to be our EUL season. We're not there yet, though. cowana, they were obviously a highly fought team, and they were one of the invited, being the second with the most likely points. Tyrant is the start. tries to crawl his way underneath to see if he can get into a dangerous bit of that galley, that gorge, but it's cowana that suffers half health with a C4 that pops off. He's rolling the grenade and suffers a little bit more from it. It might have even been his first grenade. No, the C4 from Usus is gone. More play, more grenades, more of bounce, and it's caught.
Could get spotted out there by Benja Doe, and a minute left on the clock. A minute is what keeps MNM from reaching the Six Invitational, and that means that cowana has about 60 seconds to stop that from happening. It is not much time. They need to go for an execute at some point, and Solotov is up on that top floor, but he gets caught off, and Benja gets a kill as well. cowana is starting to make this round go their way. 2 kills at least have done so already. 45 seconds left, and Tyrant drops as well. It's a 2-on-5 situation now. Users and Nello are the ones that need to make it happen for the side of MNM, and as Nello's about to swing the corner, he's being waited for, and he misses the opportunity. Users gets the very first kill. The plant is going down in the meantime, but he will be denied. He gets denied, and that means that cowana are fighting back yet another round and bringing it up to 6-5. And that means OT is within reach. Maybe it's not going to be that 1-round end sprint. Maybe we will get a best of 3 in rounds if cowana is going to be able to pick up yet another one right here.
Trophy statuary. A site that has been even-handed and handed both times back and forth across the attack and the defense. Could be the last stand for MNM. Could be the start of a last stand for cowana. 1 round. Both with pretty hefty significance for both teams. Here, we've just seen a pretty handed dispatching of MNM. They think that they can keep this pressure up. They're happy to keep rolling. They know that that was a tertiary site, and they learnt lessons on this site before, but as I proposed earlier, it's been a game of questions and answers. And you've got to see if you can pose a new test, a new syllabus for MNM to potentially fail on.
And them taking out some drones early on is always a good sign, because the information game on the side of cowana has been so strong. 2 being removed already. No, there's just 1 removed because there's a Twitch, of course. It doesn't get a usual drone. Now it's 2. It's going to be quite helpful. Try and deny as much of the information as you can. Try and deny the spots that might be coming through. And I believe you might see a little bit of an extension towards the bottom floor again, with the Mute Jammers being put in a position where the kitchen and the dining area can be used to stop these grenades from raining in from below. As there's again 6 on the board. They've been so successful with finding their targets using these frag grenades, and they need to stop that from happening. That is what the goal is of this roam bottom floor, but cowana is trying to bypass it by going even lower, using that basement to just enter the pantry instead. Take out the Mute Jammer from there on, and then see who is out there, who's down there, and who's waiting for you.
Usus might be the one that's waiting for them. He has that roam position, that extension, but Sloth is being droned up the opposite side. There is still a player inside the kitchen in the hands of Neo, and we didn't have the lean into the early aggression that we had last time. There was a burn and a burst on a drone, and there's a player. Sloth's around the corner, but Tyrant is no longer. There's revenge for how this opened up last time we were here. Neo suddenly has a much tighter situation as he loses some of that support and lifeline round on the backside. Solotov's on red. We'll offer some cover with Users keeping some lockdown and control over the kitchen to stop the flood and the slew of bodies, but hey, there's the reveal. They've headed up. We forced them out of a situation where last time we were here, it took a lot of time to get that clarity.
It definitely took a lot of time, and right now there's Neo jumping back down towards that basement again. He's looking to go for a potential flank onto the kitchen as he is playing around those Astro stairs. Sloth pulling out these grenades again. They have been so successful. The first one gets tossed in. He's not going to be able to catch off any. Was quite close. However, 90 seconds again, counting down. If the clock hits 0 and the diffuser is not planted, MNM is going to Sweden. That is what's on the line here. cowana, they need to make it to overtime to enforce themselves an opportunity to fight to get to Sweden themselves. And as another grenade pops, no other target gets found. They have that 1-minute advantage. It might be crucial in the end, but by the more time that passes, the more it favors MNM. That is something you have to keep in mind. And as they try and get rid of the Electrocloud to open up the triple wall onto the statuary side, they fail to do so. They will have to brute force in another way. And it seems like that one might be Astro, as Solotov will be able to pick up a very great kill. It's Benja that drops. Sloth will be trying to challenge the staircase here as he gets a lot of damage done. It's Neo that chases him down.
Neo is waiting at the bottom of the staircase, creeps into a new striking position as Sloth takes some damage above. He's not quite sure that the movement has happened, but he has some awareness of the danger that's currently being lifted. We're getting closer and closer to the 30-second mark, and here's a big catch. He's ready to make it, and he does. Neo strikes, but the site goes as well. It's suddenly flooding. Grizzly and Gorgona one apiece either side of Trophy and Statuary. Nello is this back line. They've got themselves with the chassis, but Neo, he's got himself around the backside. Sees one, gets an easy pick up. The diffuser is caught two. MNM are less than 10 seconds. MNM make it count with a trade. 8 maps. 90 rounds over a long day of siege, but all they have to look forward to is that one place. They are our SI final team from EU, MNM Gaming.